In this particular video, we're going to be looking at the tongues of Prophet Passion Java. I don't even know if we should call this guy a prophet because he's a clown. He's not worthy to be called a prophet. He's just masquerading as a prophet. Hello, it's your boy here, JC, and we are here to talk about what is happening in the Christian faith. And we talk about anything that seeks to put the name of God into disrepute, because we're his kids, we're his children, and we defend his name. So that's why we are here. And if you're new on this channel, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, share this video with your family and friends. Other videos that we've done there also, you can go check them out. They are actually great videos that we've done a lot of analysis, be it political analysis, be it sports analysis. We've done some of them, and we also do live shows on this platform where we discuss a lot of things. And if you are also free, you can join us. We normally do live shows on Mondays. So today in this particular video, we're looking at the story of Passion Java. Let's look at the issue of tongues. The issue of tongues, in first, when it was introduced in the book of Acts chapter 2. In the book of Acts chapter 2, you find that when the people who came to the day of Pentecost and they listened to the tongues of the people who were in the upper room, these people, they said that they started hearing people speaking in other tongues. And mind you, what had happened maybe prior to that, so you can understand, so I can give you a context. The Jews that were at Pentecost, these were Jews who were scattered all over. Like a perfect example is like Zimbabwe. You find that people that are in Zimbabwe, that come from Zimbabwe, some of them they are in Botswana, some of them they are in Namibia, some of them they are in Malawi, some of them here in South Africa, some they're in the UK, some they're in Spain, them in all these countries. And then there is a day, let's say like the days that are upcoming right now, like Heroes Day. And then they come, and then they hear people now speaking, they are praying, who are native Zimbabwean, who have never gone out of Zimbabwe. And these people, they are speaking in Tswana. Some of them they are speaking in Bemba. Some they are praying and speaking in Lingala. Some of them they are speaking in Spanish, and some of them they are speaking in different languages. Let's say maybe they are speaking in Italian. This was the scenario that we had, because we have people from Cilicia, people from Libya, from Pamphylia, and all these other places. So these are the people who were speaking in tongues, and the tongues people could hear the people speaking in tongues of the nations that they were coming from, which were not their actual nations, but they had gone there because, remember, Israel was exiled during the time of when they went to Babylon, when they even went to the time until the time of King Artaxerxes. So through all that, so the children of Israel were actually coming from these nations. They were in exile, just like us. We are economic exilists, right? I'm in South Africa, and then I go back. I think you get the understanding. Go back to Zim, and then when I'm in Zim, and I find people praying and they are speaking in Venda, and I find people praying and they are speaking in Afrikaans, and I find people praying and I hear them speaking in Xhosa, right? That was the scenario of the day of Pentecost. So in the scenario of Passion Java, he is in the US, but he is speaking in tongues in Shona language, which is gibberish Shona. It's not like a full Shona language. It's a Shona that is, he's speaking some syllables here and there, which are Shona. But for a Shona speaking, they can pick up that this person is speaking Shona.
Vavu akizere ketia korada mazai azoto akubebe zanto bambaira station ok Baden station bambaira bubunyanga kakaka hazika Daden ko munanga gwaza kugwata kukwekwe makwebedain indizu kurata akubamba masigadei da pepe kotsoto hoshikipai kepika kahasigadai.
Like in the first video, he's saying that Mbambaira, which is sweet potatoes, and then vu, like vu. It's a word that it's a stem of a word which represents wind. Vu vu vu. It's like if we say vu vuta, we have a word nyamavuvu, which is August, month of August. So vu vu, you find it forms the word vuvuta, which means wind, or incessant wind. And then you find he brings up mazai, which is eggs, and then he brings Mnangagwa, who is the president of Zimbabwe. And then in the second video, he talks about
wavurwa mumwetia mungwete, wavurwa mumwetia uveria nahaze, wavurwa ndokudivuvunya mauzhenge, wakazhondia kutsenge, jamina jamina jangwaya wesheke, ndokutora shereni ndakanipaparata, ndokunditswanga nekauzuru, iye ndiye kacho akandikechenia kutsuku hona kazura, ndiko kakang'enya ndokundikeka ndikamubata ari shereni, ndakazobia kutete
bond ndokundibhena. The bond ndokundibhena is actually meaning that, you know, in Zimbabwe we have the currency which we call bond. It's not an official currency, but it is a currency that has been used because we are using multi-currency system, and the main currency that is dominating is the US dollar. But the bond was then introduced in order to alleviate the problems whereby people would go into shops and they don't find the US dollar, and sometimes the US dollar is scarce, people cannot find it in the banks. So that's what ended up, the Reserve Bank then ended up creating this other kind of like a substitute money that can be used for people to do their trading, and it is a legal tender, of course. So bond ndokundi bena, what he was talking about here is during the 2007, people would buy money, would get money, and then they would get money from the Reserve Bank, and they use that money to buy the foreign currency, and then they get it and they do that again, the same process, and gaining profit. So that's what they call bond dokundi bena. So they call it burning money, something like that. But a local Zimbabwean who knows all these things, they know when you say bond dokundi bena. And then he comes to the other time when he says that there's a part where he says that billion rand or something like that. He was just referring to the billion rand in your account. And then kutsotsonya. Tsotsonya is actually a word which means hatching. Hatching, when your chicken is laying eggs, they actually, brood those eggs for 21 days for chickens, and then they hatch and you get chickens. So kutsotsonya, it actually means that hatching the chicken, and then they become chicks, from the eggs to the chicks. So these are the syllables that he was bringing in his tongues, which most of the Zimbabweans found very, some are indifferent, but most of the people, they find it clownish. And it is cause, mind you, the speaking in tongues in the Bible, as I illustrated, it is a sign that was illustrated in the book of Acts. It is not supposed to mean, it is supposed to be a sign to the unbelievers. Remember in the book of Acts, when they heard the people, the disciples speaking in tongues, they then concluded that these people were drunk. And then Peter spoke about them being not being drunk, but being filled with the Holy Spirit. And it became a sign to the people. That's why 30,000 people came to know God. It was a sign for the unbeliever. So the tongues are supposed to be like that. They are not supposed to be used to brag to the Bible. There was no time when the tongues were used to brag to the people. Paul actually rebuked the people and said that if people see you speaking in those tongues, like people, you find people ribo shaka taka taka what, they are using these tongues in order to kind of like brag to the other people. But then as they are doing that, Paul rebukes the people and says, if the people see you doing that, are they not going to say that you are mad? So the tongues are not supposed to be, yes, the tongues are supposed to be spoken in the church of Jesus Christ. But Paul actually says you must desire to prophesy. And the tongues, they must find somebody who interprets them. In the case of the day of Pentecost, the tongues, somebody could interpret them. The people were coming from Pamphylia, people were coming from Libya, people were coming from all of them. They could hear the native tongue, and they could hear that these people are praising God. So at the end of the day, the tongues are supposed to glorify God in what they are doing. But if then tongues are there to make sure that people brag about themselves or how many tongues they speak, then it becomes useless. That's what Paul even rebuked in the book of Corinthians, that I can speak with more tongues than all of you, but I would rather speak, right? I'd rather speak so that I can edify the church. I'd rather prophesy, speak maybe with one tongue and edify the church. So that is what is important. So to some of you who would think, oh no, he was saying something that is, I don't mind someone going to America and make a prayer in Zulu or make a prayer in Shona, right? Knowing that the people in America, no one is going to speak in Shona, but not make it like he is speaking in tongues. Because a tongue is a supernatural language that you are given, that you have never learned. But if Passion Java is then speaking in Mbambaera, which is speak sweet potatoes, Mazai, and all of that, that he has learned from growing up, then it ceases to be a tongue. It's just a normal somebody speaking. But to the people that are listening to him, they are assuming that he's speaking in tongues. So to the people that are watching and that follow Passion Java, this is what he's doing. He is actually making a mockery of the name of God. He's making a mockery to pretend like he's speaking in tongues, yet he's actually speaking in local dialect of Shona. That's all that I have for you. Tell me what you think in the comment section about this. And also, the other thing that I wanted you to let you know, as I'm doing this video, there is a program that is going on with Apostle Chwenga, which is the Revelation Gathering. Go and check out most of his sermons that he's preaching. They are long sermons to some of you, but for us, it is a time for us to feast in the Word of God and actually get to know Christ better. And also, there is a moment of laughter where he actually rebuked Passion Java, rebuked Emmanuel Makandiwa, and all of that. Then, as I promised, I'm going to come back with an explanation of the story of that I mentioned to you last time about the rapture. And you can go and check out the video that I posted on my timeline, which was done by Don Blackwell, where he talks about all these things. I liked his explanation and the way how he actually kind of like defined the doctrine of pre-millennialism and rapture and all the tribulations and all of that, which is hogwash really. But you go and check it out. I have posted it on my timeline, Kenan Rusike, on my Facebook, and go check it out. And I also am going to pin it on the comments. So that's all that I have for you. It's your boy once again reminding that Rise Up Africa, the world is waiting for you. Ciao, ciao.